Well, hello everybody and welcome to the channel. Today we're at the HQ of 11 Golf and we're going to be reviewing in this video their new 11 long iron. It's called the Tortoise and I got testing it when I was at the PGA show in Orlando. It was a prototype at that time, but I got to say, the visuals from this particular club and the performance of it when I was out there, I was just blown away. So today we've come up to the HQ, we're going to have a quick look at this iron and see if it could work nicely for your game. So who is this club actually designed for? Well, my first impressions of this particular club is that I feel like it's for those players that are looking for a long iron, maybe like a driving iron, you may refer to it as, something that is maybe just going to get you out there with a little bit more pace, but also something that looks a little bit less offset. Now, when you're moving through your irons up, certainly into your longer irons, you're going to find that you're going to get progressive offset. Well, in this particular setup, and probably the thing that drew my eyes to it the most was the fact that well, there's almost no offset. If anything, it's slightly onset, which when you frame it up behind the ball, it just looks really quite inviting. Now, this particular club is what we call a hollow body construction. So you've got a little bit of what they call like speed foam or foam inside the actual club, which is going to help with the acoustics of it. The hollow body is the fact that there's basically makes it a little bit more forgiving. So we've got a nice wide sole, and then being as the fact that it's hollow body, as I've said, it's going to allow us to be able to get maximum MOI, so stability. So if you get off-centered strikes, you're still going to get the ball speed that you want, but also pushing the mass a little bit lower in the head is going to allow us to launch that ball nicely up into the air, which again, when it comes to long irons and having very little loft, a lot of players do struggle to get the ball airborne, certainly off the fairway, but this club, well, there's no problem with that. Now for this video, we've got the 2 iron and we've got a 3 iron that 11 have made for me. In the 2 iron, I've got a KBS prototype kind of hybrid shaft, which is 85 grams. However, in the 3 iron, we've gone for the KBS Tour 120 shaft, which is the one that I would use in my bag for the rest of my irons. Now, from a makeup of the head point of view, we've got a steel construction on this particular head. However, the first thing you're going to notice with every strike that you get is just how soft it is, and probably this is what was drawing me to it as well as that little offset, was the fact that I was getting a very soft feel off the face, and it's to do with the face being made from a forged material, and this gives it that soft sense of every strike. Now, just clipping a few away with the 2 iron itself, and the price of these clubs, £129 is what you're going to get it for. And it doesn't matter whether you're going to go and put a steel shaft in it, or even you're going to put this KBS prototype hybrid shaft in it. I mean, these ones particularly, they retail at around £100 a shaft, but there's no upcharge when it comes to the setup of these clubs. So let me introduce Nick. Now, Nick is actually, you designed it.
I did, yes.
You put this together. So why did you even put this club together, Nick?
So I'm a big fan of 2 irons.
Okay.
But really I'm not good enough to use one. So I always like something really, really chunky. So I've made this as big a sole as I could. Yeah. As, you know, just make it as big as possible, but without the load of offset. Yeah. So I've kind of minimised the offset whilst being in a really chunky 2 iron head. Okay. So I just get the forgiveness.
Question then.
Yeah.
What is the tortoise bit? Why have we got a tortoise stamped on here? So obviously where's that come from?
For 11, it's obviously for the higher handicappers mainly and slower speeds. Okay. So I wanted like a tour section. Okay. And a kind of tortoise kind of starts with T-O-U-R. That was my thought. Right,
okay. So that's why we've got that stamping in there. Yeah. Now, from a visual point of view, I mean, we've gone full chrome here, haven't you? Mm-hmm. Is that any particular reason why you've gone the full chrome on that?
Preference. I quite like the shine. Yeah. And it does make it last a little longer having a protective finish on it. Okay. Hollow body construction, which has got that foam inside, which is going to help dull, let's say, the acoustics of it, because they can sound quite, they can almost get a bit flexy, can't they, off the face of a lot of these clubs, which I feel you lose a little bit of feel with it. But you've popped some foam inside there to control the acoustics on it. Yeah. So you can make the faces a little hotter, and then that kind of reinforces it so they don't break.
Okay, so it's to do with that as well.
Yeah.
And then from an actual process on top then, so we've got kind of a thickish top line on top, but I'll be honest with you, it's probably the leading edge that draws my eye away from that top line. Is there any particular reason on why you designed that?
Again, when you get like different angles, it is quite chunky.
Yeah.
Like the top's chunky, sole's chunky, so I've tried to kind of smooth all the lines to make it look almost like a player's club, but it is just packed of forgiveness.
So as Nick has alluded to there, 11 is always designed for the player that needs a little bit more help. It's a hybrid brand at the end of the day. It makes hybrid irons that's going to allow players to be able to launch the ball up in the air, and for those players that don't necessarily have quick swing speeds. However, when you move into a long iron, you do need a little bit of speed in order to get you up in the air with these particular clubs. So with this club, we're going to need a little bit of speed. However, my first thoughts on it are that it does launch really quite nicely. So I'm not seeing that it's going to work, let's say, for the really good, strong players out there. We're still getting plenty of help with it. Now, when it comes to a long iron, what are you actually putting a long iron in the bag for? When you look at your sets, sometimes you'll get up into your long irons and then they'll start to get closer and closer together. So your 5-iron and your 4-iron might go a similar yardage. And that's because you haven't got a lot of help with the sets that you've got out there. With something like this, with that little bit of extra launch that you're going to get from it, it's going to start to spread your gaps a little bit more. It's also going to work really quite nicely for those golfers that want a replacement club for, let's say, a driver when they get on a tight hole, or when you're moving into the summer months and you get those firm fairways, you can get one of these out there and get it running down the fairway. It's just kind of like a go-to club as a backup from your longer stuff at the top. So to put this club really to the test, I'm going to do some comparisons. We're going to hit some shots now. I'm going to look at my 4-iron in my set and compare it to, let's say, what I'm getting with the 3-iron in the Tortoise. Compare then the 5-wood and put it up against this 2-iron. And the 5-wood may be, let's say, 2-iron replacement for that when I get onto some tighter golf courses, or I want to get into a golf course, let's say a links, where I've got plenty of wind. So let's get some numbers and see how these perform. Okay, numbers then. So if we look at, this is my 5-iron numbers and this is the 2-iron numbers, the 2-iron that I've got in my hand. Ball speed wise, 95 mile an hour compared to 92 mile an hour. I'm expecting to see maybe a little bit of a higher ball speed off that 5-wood than I am a 2-iron. If we actually go, let's go to the meat of what's actually going on here. So from a spin-wise point of view, 5-wood spinning at 3,800 revs compared to around 3,000 revs with the 2-iron. If we look at the launch of these two particular clubs, we've got 15.5 compared to 11.9 in the 2-iron coming out, launching out just a little bit lower. If we look at the actual carry distances, I'm getting 217 on average with the way I'm swinging it today with my 5-wood, compared to 205 that I'm getting an average with this 2-iron. So it's launching lower with the 2-iron. It's not carrying as far. However, if we look at peak heights, 5-wood getting out at 96 yards high compared to 58 yards high with that 2-iron. And that means that this ball, when it lands, is going to come in with a shallower to sort of a descent angle into the fairway, and then it's going to run out. So if you look at it, 230 compared to 231, 232. So within 2 yards end result with that 2-iron compared to the 5-wood. So all in all, if you think about it, if you take it onto a links golf course, you're going to get that 2-iron to kind of run out a little bit lower off the face. Yes, it's not going to carry as far, but by the time it sort of gets down the fairway, it's going to end up in pretty much the same distance as what I'm getting going in with that 5-wood. Then we move up again and we bring these numbers down. We've got 4-iron compared to 3-iron, and this is all about gapping. I'm getting 2 mile an hour quicker swing speed out of the 3-iron because it's slightly longer in its length compared to what I'm getting out of my 4-iron. Ball speed is up again because I'm swinging it a little bit harder, and the fact that we got a little bit less loft on this particular club. If we look at the launch windows, I'm getting a 15.4 launch out of that 3-iron compared to 19.2, so just coming out a little bit lower, just like I was with the 2-iron. Spin-wise, there's 1,000 revs difference in the spin, but you're looking at two different types of constructions of heads here. So we're going to see maybe a little bit of a lower spin to get it out there a little bit further with that 3-iron. But if we look at the carry distances, and this is what it's all about. If you're going to make sure you get your gappings right, you've got to see sort of a 12 to 15 yard gap. And I'm seeing that. I'm 199 yards out of that 3-iron compared to 184 yards on an average today out of my 4-iron. So I'm getting a nice little bit of gap there from those two particular clubs. So all in all, again, from a launch kind of and then peak height point of view, 79 yards high compared to 93 yards high, getting plenty of a lot lower launch out of that 3-iron compared to that 4-iron. So again, I think both of these clubs have a place within the bag, that 3-iron just getting in there just a little bit longer than that 4-iron. And if I wanted a backup club on a windy, more linksy day, then probably the 2-iron would fit nicely in and take the 5-wood out. So all in all, Nick, pretty good numbers, I would say.
Very good numbers.
Yeah, pretty good numbers. I mean, like I said, I fell in love with this club when we were out in Orlando. And it really hasn't disappointed when I've brought it back here to look at the numbers, to get a sense of it in the shaft that I would use. I got to say that probably out of the two clubs, probably that 3-iron is the one that jumps out to me the most. Okay. It's only, 5 yards behind that 2-iron. But I just feel like with that steel shaft in it, it just makes me feel a little bit more at home compared to having a graphite shaft in it. But that's each to their own, isn't it?
100%. I think a lot of people will pick up a bit of speed with graphite.
Definitely.
So you will get a bit more yardage, but again, you've been used to steeling all your irons for probably a long time.
Well, I think as an alternative for maybe a hybrid, or you're looking to put something a little bit longer into your golf bag with a little bit of forgiveness, then maybe you need to be looking at an 11 club, because this tortoise has really, really performed for me today. And I'm actually looking forward to taking that one home and doing a little bit more experimenting with it. I'm afraid I'm taking that one with me.
Yeah, so yours.
Yeah. Don't forget, if you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you check out 11 Golf for yourself. A big thank you to Nick. A big thank you to everybody here at 11. And we'll see you again on the next video.